Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Grue Room. And for the Grue Room today, we got a very great guest. We got two guests. We got Mike Manning, who's been on the Grue Room a couple times, and I'm looking forward to talking to him again. He's a really, really cool dude. And for the first time on the Grue Room, August Maturo, and he's been in a horror movie called The Nun, and he's also was on Girl Meets World. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him. We're going to talk to August and Mike about playing Tom and Lucas in the very good horror film that's out right now on Shudder called Slapface. So everyone, get ready, get scared, and we will be interviewing Mike and August from the horror film Slapface. Coming up next, I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters. I am the host of the Grue Room. And stay. Okay, guys, welcome to Grue. Mike, welcome back to Grue, and August, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Definitely, man. So, like, the first thing I wanted to start off with, since we're going to be talking about your horror movie, is what horror films do with you love watching?
You go first.
Mike, okay. I actually just recently saw the new Scream, and I loved it.
Awesome. That was awesome.
So yeah, I really like that one a lot. And I've watched a whole bunch of like the Conjuring and everything. And my best friend McKenna Grace is actually on Annabelle Comes Home. Nice. She was actually in it. So yeah, it was crazy to see because I've been watching The Conjuring before then, and then when I heard she was on Annabelle, I was like, "What?"
Yeah. I think Annabelle was great. I love the Conjuring movies. I love movies that have a lot of those like silent, quiet moments where you sort of lean in and you have to wait and see what happens. Sort of like Hereditary or
yes.
a quiet Place. I mean, I guess A Quiet Place is kind
I love The Quiet Place, and I saw that too. I saw the second one too.
Yeah, the second one's good, and then I like I like folklore movies, and that's why I love Slapface. Right when I read it, so I really like The Witch. I like weird movies with interesting stories, sort of like Babadook or It Follows. I really love practical effects, like the old school Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Those are some of my favorites. So if you can't tell, we love this genre.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I know, Michael, you're a big fan of the Scream films too, because I always see you posting about that.
Yeah, the Scream movies are cool. The Scream movies are cool because I'm not somebody that I typically don't like slasher movies.
Yeah.
But I like the Scream movies because they're so self-aware, and it's almost like they make fun of themselves within the movie, which is really interesting to me. I think the writing's really good.
Yeah, definitely, yes. And so like, since you both are big horror fans just like me, like my favorite holiday is Halloween, and I was telling you that already, Mike. So did you both go out did you both dress up this year for Halloween?
I did. I was actually Willy Wonka, and it wasn't a specific one. I was like, we took a whole bunch of different concepts from a whole different, and we like smushed them together into our own Willy Wonka.
That's funny. You're like a hodgepodge of Willy Wonkas.
Yep.
Yeah. I went to a Halloween party, and I ordered the red jumpsuit and the Dali mask from Money Heist because I do the English dub for the voice of Denver in Money Heist. And so I was like, oh, I'll dress up like my character that I do the English for on Money Heist. And I go to this party, and everybody, maybe out of 50 people that asked me about my costume, 2 of them knew that I was from Money Heist. The rest of them thought that I was from Squid Game. Everybody. I'm like, this is not Squid Game. But Yeah, it's fine. So I struck out this year. But typically I go out. I was also what was I? I was Squid Game, I was a zombie, and then I was Spider-Man. So I always had like a
Awesome.
couple of costumes.
Awesome. Nice. Nice. And I was reading something like August, like you write comic books or draw comic books?
I did whenever I was on Slapface. I did make comic books and stuff. And I draw constantly all the time. Not always comic books and stuff, but I always draw like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like bring my sketchbook everywhere. And I always and I anything I draw, it's always horror stuff. I always draw horror
Nice.
stuff.
Yeah, when August and I first met on set, we were just getting to know each other, trying to build chemistry because we were playing brothers. So
Yeah, of
obviously,
course.
the more comfortable you can be with somebody in real life, the more that chemistry shows. And so we're sitting there, and I told him I love comic books and I love Superman, and
Yeah.
I love all of those things. And he goes, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And he goes and he grabs his notebook and he
Yep.
opens it up and he shows me his comic, and I'm like, "Wait a second, you're 12 years old, you're the lead of this movie, and you make your own comic books?" I was like, we're gonna be friends. We're gonna get along.
Right, exactly. So is it safe to say not only on camera but off it too, that you both form like a bond, a friendship, almost like real brothers?
Definitely. And like when we were on set, we actually lived on the set. Like
Oh wow.
Mike would actually sleep in the character bed. And I was literally in a house, and I was literally in a house in that same area, not that far away. So I would literally get up and walk to set, and it literally felt like we were a family for those 3 weeks when we were filming. It felt like we were a family.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really cool because we filmed at this place called Willow Lakes, and they had a series of cabins. So it wasn't only the cast; it was the director, the DP, the gaffer. Like they had like there was like the crew house, and then there was August was there in this one, and then like I was in this one, and like Augie said, the bed that I slept in was like Tom, my character, Tom's bed, and the coffee maker I used was like Tom's coffee maker in the refrigerator. So I was literally in that world, like in the world of the character. Talk about going method. I
Right,
was in that
exactly.
world for 3 weeks, and then Augie had this like little cabin right by the woods, and so for
Mhm.
his character to sort of feel a connection with the woods and to feel sort of isolated, he had this like little cabin right by the woods, off kind of by himself. So it was like really cool for him to sort of be in his own space, but like it was a 2-minute walk to my cabin, so it was cool.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And and like Mike, like how did you guys wind up picking him for the film and August? Like what made you want to do it?
It was the easiest decision that we could have made. I made a list as the producer. The director made the list, Jeremiah Kipp, and then Caroline Sinclair, who was our casting director, she made a list, and we said, okay, we're gonna take a few days, make a list, and then come back and compare. And August was at the top of all of our lists, and so we were like, well, this is easy. Let's reach out and see if he wants to do it, because I knew that he had, great work ethic because of all of his time on Girl Meets World.
Yeah,
And we sort of had that Disney, both having done Disney projects
that's right. That's right.
together.
Yeah.
And then he was so great on The Nun, and so I knew that he understood the horror genre.
Hmm.
So we reached out to him, and it just so happened that he was looking for a project like this, so it worked.
Mhm.
Awesome.
When I got it, like I was so excited to read it. And when I read it, I like my heart sank at the end. Like
Yeah.
I loved it so much because right before this, I was on The Nun, so my love for horror just started. And when I got the offer for a horror thriller genre movie, I was like, "Whoa, I want to do this! I definitely want to do this."
Yeah.
And um, it was amazing the way it was written and everything. Like Jeremiah is literally a genius,
Oh, definitely.
And like I was like, I reached, I talked in the back. I was like, yes, I do want to do this. I want to do this.
Well, see, everything happened then. Like, you got to be on the film, and you two were absolutely great in every scene that you did. Like, especially like how, especially you, August, like the crying, the emotions, and
Thank
and and
you.
and Mike, you were playing like the like drunk.
There's a lot of acting that went into that. No. I noticed your backdrop. It's like August's crying eye, and then your head right there. I see that every time your screen pops up, it's like August's giant eye. It's yeah, no, it was great because like there is a lot of emotional complexity, and you really have to attach yourself to the character, because that's why we go to movies, right? We go to movies
Hmm.
to feel something and to see ourselves in these characters, and that's why casting the role of Lucas, August's character, was so important, because you, even as adults, the adults going to see the movie, they had to see themselves in this little boy. And
Yeah.
so he had to be able to express the emotions of grief and loss and trauma and everything else, because as a little boy, he had faced more in his life than most children don't have to face. Mostly it's, into adulthood. So the fact that he was able to show those emotions was paramount to the film, and the reason that I think people are responding to the film the way that they are.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, you both did. Like, I watched the movie twice already. It's so good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've seen it so many times at this point. Like, I've seen like I've had to see it so many times, and every time, like, it's just amazing. Like, I
Yeah.
could watch it over and over and over. I would never get sick of it.
And now, like, the actual game, like the slap face game, is, Tom and Lucas doing a game, but then also when Lucas gets in trouble with the law and all the other stuff, it's a way Tom disciplines him too, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. For me, Slapface, because I really had to, and Jeremiah, the fact that he wrote this and had such a personal connection, some of the story was inspired by his life growing up next to the woods with his grandparents, and then also his fascination with fairy tales and with horror films.
Oh,
And so every time I went to Jeremiah with a question, Augie too, he would just have such great answers for us because he was pulling from his actual life and experience.
oh, wow.
And so when I asked him about Slapface, I was like, Jeremiah, what? Like, we had a lot of conversations. I'm like, why am I hitting this boy? And the way that I sort of explain it in my brain and justify it is that life has not been good to Tom,
Hmm.
and life has been hard. And Tom thinks that it is now his responsibility to prepare Lucas for life. And life is going to be hard. Life is going to hurt. I'm going to hurt you now, and I'm going to get you ready for life so that you can be a man, and you can, when life hits you, you can take it.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's a way to show Lucas that, like, when you do bad things, you not only hurt yourself, you hurt others. So that's why I'm going to make you hit me back, because I want you to see what you're doing. And I think in my mind, in my backstory, their father did the same thing to them. Maybe not to Lucas, maybe he,
Hmm.
but certainly to Tom. And I think Jeremiah did a great job in there of writing that line. Um, like when he's trying to give him advice, and he's like, no means no, always wear a condom, like trying to give him that brotherly advice. And he says, stop talk, like, don't talk like dad, or stop sounding like dad, or whatever it is. And he goes inside, and it just shows you that, like, everything that Tom's doing is a reflection of how he was taught by their father, who was probably abusive and
Hmm.
also an alcoholic.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Wow. And all August, like, the scenes with you and the witch, like that, could a lot of people just are probably going to see the witch as this like creature, But I like when I watch it, like I saw the witch didn't have no one and was like actually looking for a friend, looking to be with someone, and the witch chose Lucas and watched over him, and whoever was hurting Lucas, she wanted to kill them because she, you know, she's a witch. She doesn't know any better.
Yeah, like that's what's so cool about Lucas Hassel. Like he's the one who played the monster, and even though he's like in an entire suit and like makeup, and you can barely tell who he is underneath, like he still like he doesn't say anything throughout the entire film, and you can still feel the emotions just through the motions he's doing, and it's spectacular how he did it. And the way I was able to like be friends with him throughout the film, you know, we would talk off set and stuff. We were like best friends, so that like during the scene, it would seem like me and the witch were best friends. Maybe the witch was like a motherly figure, you know, like it would just flow better, and it did. It was amazing how like Lucas Hassel is literally amazing.
Very tall too.
Well, when they said that they wanted to have our Jeremiah and I saw eye to eye on so many of the decisions. When he told me that he wanted a 6'3" Dutch Danish, is he Dutch or Danish?
I don't know.
I think Dutch. I think Dutch.
Yeah, one of those. But he's a six. He's a 6'3" white dude, and when Jeremiah said that he wanted our witch creature to be Lucas Hassel, I was like, I don't know. I don't see it. And he goes, trust me, he was in the short, he was in the table read, he did great. He's such a good actor. I said, okay, we'll see. And then, you know, I saw the prosthetics and the makeup test and everything. And then, you know, I was a little bit more convinced. I was like, okay, maybe like with the face and with the hood and everything. And then the first day on set, you know, obviously it was too late for us to hire somebody else.
Oh, yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm standing behind the monitor watching them interact, and I'm waiting. I'm like, please make this work. Please like make this work. And the first scene that they shot together was amazing. And I'm so glad that I trusted Jeremiah, because Lucas brings so much to that character that's not even on the page. It's like you were talking about. He brings this necessity of friendship and family and whatever that the witch needs. Just even in the hand movements and how tender the witch is, and even in the eyes. We were very purposeful in only showing little bits of the witch. So we had to be very selective on how much of the witch we showed, because we want to balance horror with sort of this like character development, being tender and having that character. And so we sort of every single shot, we had to get the most bang for our buck in terms of character development, because we wanted to maintain the mystery. And we couldn't have asked for a better witch than Lucas.
Oh my God, yes. Like he did amazing.
Yeah.
And like this movie also is about bullying. And Mike, I know like you're huge for anti-bullying. Like you even do a boo for bullying, right?
Buddha Bullying, yeah. So Buddha Bullying is a charity I'm involved with, and that's actually funny. That's how I met the D'Ambrosio twins, Chiara and Bianca, who play the bullies in Slapface.
Yeah.
I met them in an anti-bullying organization, and so it all comes full circle.
Oh wow, okay. And I mean, the film's out and a lot of people saw it already, but you know, without giving too much away, like what scene do you both love best from Slapface?
I I don't, without giving any spoilers, I love the end scenes so much, especially the one where I'm with the monster and we're separating the good toys and the bad toys.
Yeah.
And that when every time I watch that, I get chills. I'm like it just there's something about it that's just like, you know, let's put aside the good and let's put aside the evil, let's stay friends. And I'm like, no, we
Mhm.
can't be friends. And like, I just cry every time.
Yeah. You're like,
It was
oh,
very emotional, that
because
scene.
you're
It was
losing
like I even
you're-
cried. I had tears. And
yeah, you're losing a friend. It's such an impactful scene, and the way that Jeremiah used toys to indicate good and evil, but in a
Mhm.
way that a 12-year-old would understand. It was so brilliant. It was so brilliant. Um, and our art director, Kat Van Cleef, did such a great job too at like setting the scene with,
Mhm.
making the house feel lived in and really run down, but also homey. Um, and I'm sure that she was the one I think that brought the toys or something. I don't know. But the scene for me probably would be the scene where Tom discovers the bullet hole in the wall
Oh
and
yeah.
confronts Lucas about it. And the scene starts very aggressively. There's pushing, there's hitting, and this isn't Slapface anymore. This is like
Mhm.
aggression. Like there's no reason for this except for I'm mad at you and I want to hurt you. And then it takes a sharp 180, and he hugs him and he just holds him and you see this moment, this tender moment of Tom really trying to hold his little brother close to him and protect him. And he says something like, we're all we've got. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to be taken away from me? And it shows in that one scene, in whatever it is, 1, 2, 3 minutes, you see the aggression, you see the pain, you see how scared he is, and then you see the tenderness and protection between these two characters, like wrapped up in that one scene. And so for me, that's my favorite scene. And that was shot on a day where I had to dig the 15 pass van out of the mud
Oh my God.
as a producer.
Mhm.
So our van got stuck in the mud, and everybody goes back to set. And so I'm sitting there with this van stuck in the mud. Everybody goes back to set, and they continue shooting things to stay on schedule. I'm on my hands and knees digging this van. I have mud on my hands, under my nails, on my face, on my shirt. And I finally get back to set. A neighbor helped me. He happened to have a tractor in his backyard, and he helps me get this van out of the mud. So I drive back to set, and I'm exhausted, and I'm frustrated, and I'm angry, and I'm in a bad mood. I'm like, don't talk to me, anybody. And they say, okay, Mike, you're up in 15 minutes.
Oh
Like,
my
you have,
God.
you have to shoot this scene right now. And I remember going in the bathroom and I started washing off, and I was like, actually, you know what? Tom is frustrated. Tom is angry. Tom is dirty. Tom is all these things. And so I was like, I'm just going to use it in the scene. And that's why I think the scene started out as so angry and aggressive. And
Mhm.
then halfway through, I just grabbed Augie and I just like gave him a hug. And I was like, and partly that was because Tom
Yeah.
was feeling protective of Lucas.
Yeah.
And partly that was because like Mike just needed a hug in that moment. Mike was just drained. Mike was like, just give me a hug, man. I don't even know if I have any more lines. Just give me a hug. And it's now like one of my favorite moments in the movie.
That was a really good scene. I like that. And,
Mhm.
and Mike has really big hands. I would not want to get slapped by him.
Thanks, man.
um, so like now, have you two ever watched one another's television shows? Like Augie, you're known from Girl Meets World, and Mike won an Emmy for The Bay. Like, did you ever watch like each other's shows?
To be honest, before Slapface, I did not know anyone in that film. I did not know anyone, but I honestly think it's great because it was just like a fresh start, and we all got to like, you know, be offset and just become friends and literally become family. Since we all were together, we lived as a family. And then after that, I did look into like what everyone has done before and everything. And I was so surprised that Jeremiah is like, I haven't heard like any of the stuff he's done, but like Slapface, it was just like so good. I'm like, wait, he needs to be more recognized. Like he deserves more attention. He's done so well.
Mhm.
And same with everybody else in the film. They all deserve more attention.
I agree with you. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, same kind of thing. I mean, I think I did watch one of Augie's episodes of Girl Meets World just to see, like, because I knew of him,
Well, yeah.
because I had done, because of like Cloud9 and Crash and Bernstein and some of the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was aware of Disney, and I would still go to Disney, like Radio Disney events or like the music awards or whatever they are, like Disney events. So I was aware of him. And then I of course saw him in The Nun, and that was really cool. And then but it wasn't, and I think I knew Libe. I knew Libe from Sneaky Pete. I knew Dan Hedaya, of course, from Clueless and from Usual Suspects. I think Lucas, I didn't know any of his work, but he kills it in Blacklist. Mirabelle Lee, I didn't know her work, but I did watch her reel before we hired her, and she had great stuff on her reel. And then the twins, the Bianca and Chiara D'Ambrosio, I had worked with on The Bay already.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're great. So it was a little bit. I knew a little bit, I think, but kind of like Augie. Now I've gone back, and if one of my friends now, because we're all friends, if one of my friends is on the show, then I'll try to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I have to ask you this, Augie, like off the subject of Slapface, like Bonnie Aarons was so creepy as the nun. Like, how did you not get scared on that set?
She was honestly the friendliest person you will ever meet. She is the friendliest person you will ever meet. I could not get scared no matter what of her. She was so nice to me.
Okay.
And I would love to work with her again. I would love to work with her again.
Nice.
She was like, yeah, we talked off, but like before the makeup was on and everything. And in between takes, we would like joke and stuff. And she was honestly just so nice. It was hard to pretend to be scared of her.
I actually just worked with Bonnie on the film.
I saw that
Randy Couture film that just was posted, and she's great. She's just like a super, super sweet person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the last question I will ask is, why do you think the fans love the film so much, and why do you both like the film so much?
You want to go first, Mike, or should I?
Either one. I don't care.
Okay. So I feel like people like it so much because it deals with topics that are relatable, like bullying. And I dealt with bullying before, and that's why I was able to connect with this so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because in middle school, I was bullied, and I was able to use those experiences for the film. And I think when people see it and they see the bullying, they can also relate to it. And that's what I think is like so attention grabbing, because sometimes horror movies are just, I will admit, some are just jump scares, and you can't really relate to it, This, like, I felt a really deep connection with this film because I was able to relate to it, and I'm sure a ton of people can relate to bullying and everything, and loss of parents too. And those topics are like really relatable to a ton of people. Yeah, I still have both my parents though.
Yeah.
Like, for the record, I still have them. Yeah, I agree. I think that people show up for the monster, and they stay for the realism, the emotional depth. I love films that obviously are commercial, and if I'm going to be scared, I want to be scared. If I'm going to see an action movie, I want to see action. If I'm going to a comedy, I want to laugh. So we did try to make sure that Slapface checked the boxes of, if somebody wants to go see a horror thriller, it has the witch, it has some of those scary moments, but we wanted the film to say something, and we wanted the film to have that anti-bullying message, and we wanted to have people leave, turn off Shudder or leave the theater or whatever, thinking about things and thinking about how loss and grief manifests itself, and think about how they treat other people and the effects of that. And kind of like Augie, I was bullied when I was a kid too. I was smaller than a lot of my friends. And I did sports, and then I did theater, and I would get made fun of from both sides of the other side, kind of thing.
Oh my
And
God.
I mean, it is what it is, and kids can be mean sometimes. But that's sort of what we wanted to capture in this film. It's not a feel good film,
Yeah.
but it's definitely a feel something film. And I think people, turn on, when they watch it, however they're going to watch it, on Shudder and AMC Plus, now streaming. But yeah, like they, by the end of it, we want them to think like, wow, like where do monsters come from? Like what, and have I been a monster in my life? And who was the monster in this cast? And and I think that's why it's catching people by surprise, because we are a small movie. We're not a huge studio film.
Oh yeah,
but
exactly.
the reviewers have been very kind to us and continue to be kind. If anybody is listening or watching this right now and they like our film, please go on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and rate us 100%, because that helps other people see it. And then if you don't like our film, then the name of our film is Boy in the Woods.
Yeah, it's funny you say it, because like that's what I love most about the film is the message for bullying. And I'm in the same category. For a kid, a teenager, I was always bullied for my speech, for stuttering, and still, like, to this day, people still make fun of it. But I learned how to deal with it better than when I was a kid. But yeah, like that's what I like best about it too, was the message for bullying. Like, words can hurt worse than fists.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to thank you both for coming on the show. And August, thanks for taking time out and have a really fun time on vacation.
Thank you.
And Mike, thanks so much for always be willing to coming back on the show.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. This is it's fun to talk. It's easy and fun to talk about something that you care about, and all of us involved with this film care about it and want to see it in front of as many people as possible. So thank you for helping us spread the word.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
and,
thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, guys, we'll definitely have a good weekend.
Cool. You too. Happy Super Bowl weekend, guys.
Yes, definitely.
See ya.
Bye.